Guys, welcome back to our channel where we are going to bring you the latest predictions and rankings in college football. Today we're diving into Conference USA predictions for the upcoming 2023 season. With significant realignment and changes in the conference, we have the addition of 4 new teams. We have a departure of a bunch of, CUSA staple programs. It's going to cause a lot of chaos, a lot of totally different teams, a lot of totally different rivalries, mixtures, but I'm all here for it. It's going to be a different conference this year, but let's get right into it. Starting with number 9, I have the FIU Panthers under coach Mike McIntyre. FIU went 4-8 last year, and FIU faces a huge rebuild effort moving into this year. Quarterback Grayson James is back, but he's going to have to take the next step. He had 1,969 yards passing, 11 TDs, but he turned over the ball a lot. And the defense on the other side of the ball was absolutely atrocious. They need to improve drastically, considering they finished last season giving up 37 points per game. That's not going to win you very many ball games. Avery Huff and Claude Larkins are coming in as big-time transfers from the ACC. Avery Huff on one side of it is a linebacker from Miami. He will be a huge addition, was a 4-star coming out of high school. Now, looking at their non-conference schedule, I don't see how they finish better than 2-2, and most likely the outcome is going to be 1-3. With all that being said, I think FIU fans just want to see progress this year, but I have them finishing last in conference. I think they still got to figure out the defense. I don't trust the offense that much, and I just think Mike McIntyre is going to have a long rebuild on his hands, and this program is going to be a bottom feeder in honestly the worst conference. All right, moving on to number 8, we have Jacksonville State. They are in their first year in Conference USA, and they're coached by Rich Rodriguez. The Gamecocks finished their final FCS season with a 9-2 record. Antoine Lewis leads the ground attack. He's one of the best running backs in the conference, and you have Kobe Finwa, the linebacker, and Chris Hardy, defensive lineman, anchoring that defense. The good news for Jacksonville State is they have a great rushing attack. The bad news is, with more competition, will that offensive line be able to hold? I personally think the trenches is where that's going to kind of hold them back this year. The good news is they return a lot of their core from last year's team. The bad news is they really didn't add any big-time recruits or transfers. And I think Zion Webb is a great FCS quarterback. I don't know if he can make the jump and give them enough in the air game. I believe Rich Rod can turn Jacksonville State around into a really good team, but I think it's going to take a few years. So that's why I have them finishing 8th in the conference. Coming in at number 7, I have Sam Houston State, led by the experienced coach Casey Keeler. Sam Houston is transitioning to the FBS level. They are a former FCS champion. Their strength lies in their strong defense, featuring standout players like Markel Perry, defensive line, Trevor Williams, linebacker, and Jordan Morris, corner. Coming off a 5-4 season last year, the Bearcats will need to figure out their offense. While only scoring 18 points per game last year and only throwing for 168, they have a lot to figure out on the offensive side of the ball. Now, they have an interesting transfer coming in with Grant Grinnell, who will be competing for the starting job. He was from North Texas. They also moved Jordan Yates, the guy who started at QB for them at the start of the season last year, to running back. So that's a very cool, interesting transition. You don't really see that often where the quarterback becomes a running back. With everything said, they have a good defense, but unless they figure out the QB position, they're going to be in the bottom of 3rd in the conference, and that's why I have them still at 7. Coming in at 6 is Middle Tennessee State, led by Coach Rick Stockstill. Middle Tennessee has been consistent over the years with a defense that is expected to improve, but Stockstill will have to find answers on offense while replacing key players. Last year they finished 8-5, but won a lot of close games. Frank Peasant returns to lead the rushing attack. He had 777 rushing yards with 9 touchdowns last year, and is going to be a good player in the run game for them this year. They also added Brandon Buckner, linebacker, a transfer from Oregon, who will be a big-time addition to that defense and really help them take that next step. The only problem is they lost Case Cunningham, a quarterback who threw for over 3,000 passing yards for them to graduation, and then they lost Jalen Lane, who transferred to Virginia Tech, who led the team in receiving yards. And I don't see how they replace these guys. They also have the hardest non-conference schedule, which won't make it easy for the offense to figure themselves out in the early parts of the season. Now, they easily can be a top 4 team in this conference, but I just don't see it this year with a tough non-conference schedule. The replacing of a lot of key offensive players. I just think this is kind of more of a rebuild year for Middle Tennessee. They'll still be good. I still think they can make a bowl game, but I have them finishing in the bottom half of the conference with hopefully a chance to kind of improve. Coming in at number 6, we have Coach Sonny Cumbie's team, which is Louisiana Tech. Last year they had a tough 3-9 season, but could bounce back. I really truly believe this is their year to bounce back. They won't be great, but they're going to be a lot better. Transfer quarterback Hank Brockmeyer, formerly of Boise State, who had a really good season with Boise State 2 years ago, kind of lost to the starting job this year. That's why he's in the transfer portal. Is going to add talent, and you have playmakers like Smoke Harris at wide receiver, Marquise Crosby at running back that are going to bolster the offense. They even added the best name in college football with Dakotas Crawford, the wide receiver from Nebraska, coming in as a transfer. Now, with this being said, the offense wasn't the big problem. I think the offense is going to be good. You have a disciple. Sonny's a disciple of Mike Leach, so the offense I trust. Now, the defense is where they got to get better. They were giving up 37.9 points per game, and I'm sorry, you're not beating very many teams with a defense like that. I think with turnover in the conference and good additions from the transfer portal, I believe that Louisiana Tech takes a step up and they could be pushing for a bowl game this year. Sadly, they didn't do themselves any favors in the non-conference schedule. They have Nebraska, North Texas, and SMU all on the schedule. I have them coming into number 6. They're a tier above those teams below them, but they're not ready to compete with the big boys in this conference. Coming in at number 5, I have the UTEP Miners. Coach Dana Dimel went 5-7 last year, and this year's squad is led by quarterback Gavin Hardison and running back Deion Hankins. The team is a solid offensive line, but the secondary needs improvement on defense. They added talented transfer in Dre Spriggs from UTSA, but he's not going to be enough to replace the fact that they lost Jeremiah Byers. He was an offensive tackle. He's transferring to Florida State. And Tyron Smith, wide receiver, who's transferring to Texas A&M. So they lost a lot of big-time transfers. They even lost their leading rusher from last year to graduation. So UTEP is going to need Gavin Hardison to take the next step if they want to get to 6 wins. He had 11 touchdowns and 8 interceptions last year. That's not good enough to get the job done, in my opinion. Now, their non-conference schedule gives them a chance to go 2-2 with Incarnate Word and UNLV coming into town. I think those are 2 winnable games to go 2-2 in non-conference. So the 6-win mark is going to honestly come down to conference play. And I think the Louisiana Tech game will be a deciding factor for both teams to make a bowl game. And in the preseason, I'm going to give the edge to UTEP. So we'll see. I have UTEP at 5. We'll see what happens. But 6-6 is probably where I see the Miners this year. All right. Under Coach Jerry Kill, the Aggies are going to come in 4th place for me. The Aggies had a impressive turnaround season last year. They went 7-6, and they won the Quick Lane Bowl. So a really good season for them. Quarterback Diego Plava led the offense, and the defense looks to build on last year's performance. Diego is going to need to take the next step, though. They only threw for 169.2 yards per game. They need to bump that up, in my opinion, if you're going to want to compete with the big boys. But he's going to have some competition with Eli Stowers, QB from Texas A&M. He's a 4-star out of high school, joining the team. He led his team to a state championship. Dude can ball. Didn't really get a chance at Texas A&M. And I think he's going to get an opportunity here and maybe win the starting job. We'll see. They also have Deion Wilson, the defense line from Arizona, and Miles Rozier, safety from Campbell, to add to that defense, since their defense did lose a lot of key pieces last year. I think this team will have a good time in the conference and get momentum going get some momentum going. But I don't see them competing for the conference title just yet, as they're still a ways away from the Liberty and Western Kentucky class. So all in all, I think New Mexico State's going to have a good season, but they have a ways to Coach Jeremy Chadwell, formerly of Coastal Carolina and led Coastal Carolina to a lot of success, brings his offense expertise to the Flames. They face some roster turnover, but the potential to challenge for the Conference USA title is still there. They went 8-5 last year, and the return of Jonathan Bennett at QB and North South at wide receiver, the offense should be just fine. I'm not worried about the offense with the coach and the players returning. The offense is going to be fine. The defense took some hits, losing Stephen Stings. He's going to transfer to Auburn. Mike Smith Jr. transferring to Baylor, and a few to graduation. They did add Gray Carroll edge from Georgia Tech, but I still think the defense takes a step back this year. Their non-conference schedule is easy, and they should go 4-0 in this conference, give them a chance at 10-win season, in my opinion. The only thing is, I have them losing to Western Kentucky because I don't see the defense holding up against them. Going forward, though, I see Liberty as the class of Conference USA, and if they stay in the conference for the next 10 years, they're going to win a lot of conference titles. Western Kentucky comes in at number 1, coached by Tyson Helton. The Hilltoppers are the top team in Conference USA, in my opinion. They went 9-5 last year, and they returned quarterback Austin Reed and receiver Malachi Corley to lead their high-power offense. Edge rusher Jacquizz Evans stands out on defense. They averaged 36 points per game and over 352 passing yards per game. Austin Reed returns after his 4,000-plus yard season, almost pushing 5,000 yards and 40 TDs. And I think you'll have similar numbers this year. They added Xavier Capers, wide receiver from Auburn, and Daryl Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, who is 6'7", 315 from community college, that I believe will help improve the offense. I'm also excited for the Ohio State game, as they will play the Ohio State on the road. I don't expect them to win, but I want to see what Austin Reed can do against one of the top defenses and programs in the country. All in all, I think Western Kentucky is in a good place to win the conference. They should have won the conference this year, but I'm a little worried because they're not really bringing in a lot of recruits and big-time transfers, that this program will be going on a little bit of a dip after this season. So watch the transfer portal, watch their recruitment, because they're going to have to start making some big moves if they want to stay at the top. All right, lastly, let's look at my Conference USA, official predictions. I got Western Kentucky 1 at 7-1, Liberty at 2 at 7-1, New Mexico State 5-3 will finish third, UTEP will finish 5-3 as well in the conference. I have Louisiana Tech at 4-4. Middle Tennessee will go 3-5. Sam Houston State will go 3-5. Jacksonville State will be 1-7, and FIU will go 1-7 and finish 9. So that's how I see the conference playing out. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm dumb, smart, genius. Let me know what you think about my conference predictions. Last couple things I do want to talk about, though, is my offensive player of the year. I'm going to go with Austin Reed. This dude was electric last year. I think he should win it this year. I think he's going to carry the offense. I think he's the best QB in the conference by a mile, and he's going to showcase it, man. This guy has an NFL arm talent. He's going to put up big numbers, and he's going to be fun to watch. Defensive player of the year, I'm going to go with Praise Ombole out of UTEP. This dude's going to get a lot of sacks this year. This guy's going to get a lot of big plays. This guy is an NFL prospect, and I think he's going to showcase it and really help carry that UTEP defensive line. And then finally, my coach of the year is going to be Tyson Helton of Western Kentucky. I think they win the conference, so I think he deserves to be the coach of the year, getting him that conference title. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe for more.